Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Everybody, new documentary from director Julie Cohen, focusing on three individuals who are intersex and dealing with the trauma that they had as young people, having surgery forced upon them to define their sexuality and to define their sex at birth because they were born not specifically male or female, but having ambiguous traits of both. And this is something that this film states. There's hundreds of thousands of people in America that are intersex. And it's the I in the LGBT QIA plus acronym. And this film is very informative on helping you learn, especially if you don't know much about intersex, and understanding what it really means in terms of how it affects human beings, how it presents itself in human beings, and how there's a lot of variety to it. And the stigma that's based off of a lot of the work of Dr. Money, who really was the forebearer for how intersex people were worked with and what were to be done to them upon birth in terms of forcing a specific sex upon them, and instead of letting them live as an intersex person, which is natural, and being able to potentially make those decisions later on in their life. And this film works on a lot of different levels as you are seeing these three people telling their stories, and it becomes a very human experience because we're hearing from three people who've experienced all of this, who fight for this, and how it's shaped each of their lives and the trauma they've been through. But you also see them looking at other stories through their lenses, and it gives you an interesting framed perspective from somebody who is intersex and how they're processing hearing these other stories. There's an unbelievably tragic story about a young Canadian boy who, unfortunately, a botched circumcision left him without a penis, and this Dr. Money wanted to raise him as a girl, and forcing this sex upon them that wasn't who they are, and wrote in all these journals about how perfectly it was working despite this young boy pushing back at every single moment. And where that story goes is quite tragic. And being able to hear that story for ourselves and processing it, but also seeing how these intersex individuals process that as well, adds layers and dimensions to it. I will say that the film kind of goes in a hopeful understanding these people, and then getting really, really heavy, and then coming strongly back down to trying to be more hopeful and seeing how these individual stories advance and where things are going for intersex people. So tonally, it's a bit of a roller coaster at times, and I feel like could have potentially been built up a little bit differently to reach that point. And I do feel like towards the end, we get the point of like these three people have really embraced their intersex identity, connecting with intersex individuals from the past and present, and trying to become advocates. And we see them pushing for laws, protesting, and all these things. I just feel like towards the end of the film, it kind of putters out in terms of its pacing and its energy, and probably could have wrapped up a little bit sooner, a little bit neater. But overall, this is such an impactful and moving and poignant film that is very informative, and I think really essential viewing for everybody. It's in the title, because I feel like this is a section of people, and very much so a section of people that are overlooked in society and marginalized and misunderstood. Like, you could just look at the horrible 1-star rating reviews on IMDb, the one that's sitting on there right now, and how ignorant and stupid the comment is, because this film is about stopping the medical and parental mutilation of children because they don't fit into normal. And us trying to define normal as you either have to be a boy or a girl when you're born, when that's not really true. But I do have to say, they went on this montage at the beginning of the film of all of the most over-the-top, ridiculous gender reveal parties, and it was absolutely hilarious, because I think, for me personally, I think that whole thing is stupid. And I will never do that with my children in the future. If I, like, at that point, that's never going to happen. But I did think that was a really funny way to open this film. And they even threw a couple, like, interesting cover songs in there to add a little energy and personality to the film. But overall, this is such an informative experience and an important one. So make sure to go check this out. But those are my thoughts on Everybody. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.